Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, very grateful to be here this morning by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnavas, and very happy in our hearts because the Lord didn't just appear 5,000 years ago. Every year, He reappears in our hearts if we want Him to. And we have to invite Him and we have to party like, come on, Krishna. So we're going to be reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, and text 7 and 8. And you all please pray for me that Srila Prabhupada's mercy will flow through me in a surrendered and humble way, and that we can all share in that mercy this morning. Okay. The birth of Lord Krishna. Mumuchur Munayo Deva Sumamamsi Mudamvita
Sumamamsi Mudavita.
Mandam Mandam Jaladara
Mandam Mandam Jalada.
Jagorjur Anu Sagaram Nishute Tamak Ubate Jayamane Janardane
Jayamane Janardane.
Devakyam Devarupenyam
Devakyam Devarupenyam.
Vishnu Sarva Goho Shayaha
Vishnu Sarva Goshaya.
Avira Siddhyata Pratyam
Avira Siddhyata Pratyam.
Dishandur Eva Puskalaha
Dishandur Eva Pushkalaha.
Mumuchaha
Muchaha.
Mumuchahu Showered
Showered.
Muniyaha
Munayaha.
All the great sages and saintly persons
All the great sages and saintly persons.
Devaha
Devaha.
and the demigods
And the demigods.
Sumanamsi
Sumanamsi.
very beautiful and fragrant flowers
Very beautiful and fragrant flowers.
Muda Anvitaha
Munja Amitaha.
being joyous in their attitude
Being joyous in their attitude.
Mandam
Mandam Mandam.
very mildly
Very mildly.
Jaladaraha
Jagadaraha.
the clouds
The clouds.
Jagarjo
Jagarju.
vibrating. Yeah, I'm trying to get my glasses. Yeah. No, you get them. Anusagaram.
Anusagaram.
Following the vibrations of the sea waves.
Following the vibrations of the sea waves.
Nishite.
Nishchite.
Late at night.
Late at night.
Tamaha udbute.
Tamaha Udbute.
When it was densely dark.
When it was densely dark.
Jayamane.
Jayamane.
On the appearance of
The appearance of
Janardane,
Janardane.
the Supreme Personality
The Supreme Personality
of Godhead,
of Godhead.
Vishnu,
Vishnu.
Devoyam,
Devoyam.
Devakyam.
Devakyam.
In the womb of Devaki,
In the womb of Devaki.
Devarupinyam,
Devarupinyam.
who was in the same category as the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Who was in the same category of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Ananda Chinmaya Rasapati Bhavita Bi. Vishnu,
Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Lord.
Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Lord.
Sarvaguha Shayaha,
Sarvaguha Sayaha,
who is situated in the core of everyone's heart.
who is situated in the core of everyone's heart.
Avirasita,
Avirasit,
appeared.
appeared.
Yataha,
Yataha,
as. Pratyam,
Pratyam,
Dishi,
Dishi,
in the east.
in the east.
Indua Iva, like the full moon.
Like the full moon.
Pushkalaha,
Pushkalaha,
complete in every respect.
complete in every respect.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Sri Swami Prabhupada.
Jai.
Jai. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean's waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon, rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. Translation, please repeat. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky, and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean's waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's what? Heart, appeared from the what of Devaki? Of Devaki. Like the full moon, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon. Because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. So we had to talk about that. Who can be of the same category of God? It's really deep. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Sri Swami Prabhupada. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 537, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabi Tabir Ya Eva Nija Rupataya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasisi Akilad Maputa Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This verse indicates that Krishna and his entourage are of the same spiritual potency, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Krishna's father, his mother, his friends, the cowherd boys, and the cows are all expansions of Krishna, as will be explained in the Brahma Vimohan Leela. When Brahma took away Krishna's associates to test the supremacy of Lord Krishna, the Lord expanded himself again in the forms of many cowherd boys and calves, all of whom, as Brahma saw, were Vishnu Murtis. Devaki is also an expansion of Krishna, and therefore this verse says, Devakyam Deva Rupinyam Vishnu Sarva Guhushayaha. At the time for the Lord's appearance, the great sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers. At the seashore, there was the sound of mild waves, and above the sea, there were clouds in the sky, which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who is residing within the heart of every living entity, appeared in the darkness of night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead before Devaki, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at the time at that time could be compared to the rising of the full moon in the sky on the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, there could be no rising of the full moon. In answer to this, it may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty, which is in the hierarchy of the moon. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty wherein the moon is himself the original person, the moon was in an overjoyous mood. The moon was in an overjoyous condition. So by the grace of Krishna, he could appear as a full moon. To welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the waning moon became a full moon in jubilation. Instead of Deva Rupinyam, some texts of Srimad Bhagavatam clearly say Vishnu Rupinyam. In either case, the meaning is that Devaki has the same spiritual form as the Lord. The Lord is Satchidananda Vigraha, and Devaki is also Satchidananda Vigraha. Therefore, no one can find any fault in the way the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Satchidananda Vigraha, appeared in the womb of Devaki. Those who are not in full knowledge that the appearance and disappearance of the Lord are transcendental, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, are sometimes surprised that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can take birth like an ordinary child. Actually, however, the Lord's birth is never ordinary. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is already situated within the core of everyone's heart as Antayami, the Supersoul. Thus, because he was present in full potency in Devaki's heart, he was also able to appear outside her body. One of the 12 great personalities is Bhishma Dev, Swayambhur, Narada, Sambhu, Kumara, Kapilo, Manu, Prahlada, Janako, Bhishma. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1942, Bhishma, a great authority to be followed by devotees, says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in the core of everyone's heart, just as the sun may be on everyone's head. Yet, although the sun may be on the heads of millions and millions of people, this does not mean that the sun is variously situated. Similarly, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has inconceivable potencies, he can be within everyone's heart and yet not be situated variously. Ekatvam anupashitaha, Ishopanishad 7. The Lord is one, but he can appear in everyone's heart by his inconceivable potency. Thus, although the Lord was within the heart of Devaki, he appeared as her child. According to the Vishnu Purana, therefore, as quoted in the Vaishnava Darshani, the Lord appeared just like the sun, Anugraha Shriya. The Brahma Samhita 535 confirms that the Lord is situated even within the atom. Andantarasta Paramanu Charantarastam. He is situated in Mathura, in Vaikuntha, and in the core of the heart. Therefore, one should clearly understand that he did not live like an ordinary child in the heart or the womb of Devaki, nor did he appear like an ordinary human child, although he seemed to do so in order to bewilder the asuras like Kamsa. The asuras wrongly think that Krishna took birth like an ordinary child and passed away from this world like an ordinary man. Such asuric conceptions are rejected by persons in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san. Bhagavad Gita 4:6. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is Aja, unborn, and he is the supreme controller of everything. Nonetheless, he appeared as the child of Devaki. This verse describes the inconceivable potency of the Lord who appeared like the full moon. Understanding the special significance of the appearance of the Supreme Godhead, one should never regard him as having taken birth like an ordinary child. Onam jana tamirandasya, jananjana shalakaya, chakshuramilitanyena, tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha, Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam, Stapitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Kadamayan, Dadati Swapadantikam, Hare Krishna Karuna Sindho, Dinabandho Jagapate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostute, Tata Kanchana Garangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vanchakotpatubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasadi Sri Gauda Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So this is a very auspicious day, a day of celebration. I know many devotees stayed up late at night getting all the decorations and paraphernalia and food together to celebrate this auspicious day of the Lord appearing in our heart. And we can be happy to understand the appearance of Krishna. We can be happy because by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and the great acharyas, they help us to understand who exactly this Krishna is and what exactly his appearance is. There's a song that we used to sing when we were young. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then your life will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. So I'm going to say, if you're happy and you know it, say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
If you're happy and you know it, say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
If you're happy and you know it, then your life should surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. There's so many reasons we could think of actually to be sad, the nature of the world, all these crazy things happen. But as Vaishnavas, as aspiring servants of the Lord, we can actually be happy. We can actually be happy because as we're reading here, the Lord has appeared. And the Lord is in everyone's heart. And just as he appeared in the heart of Devaki and then outside of our heart, he will do the same for each of us. How many of us believe that? Good. You know 100%. So the truth is, and my husband's Muslim, and a lot of times people say, well, how do you all get along so nicely together? One of the main things is that we understand there's only one God, and we try to serve each other. And I think that's the simple key in a nutshell. But sometimes philosophically, we're kind of different. For example, in Islam, God has no father, he has no mother, he has no associates, he has, how does that reconcile? And the truth is that God has no mother, and he has no father. Nobody, who can be the mother of God? He's the origin, he's the origin, he's the source of everything, he's the beginning. Who could be before God to be his mother? Or who could be before God to be, he has no mother, has no father. So that is true. Actually, we agree with the Muslims. God has no mother and father. And yet, we say that Devaki was the mother of God. Now, how do you reconcile all that? So part of it is understanding is that God is all there is. He's the only one. And every living being, everything is an expansion of God. So we're teeny, tiny, tiny expansions of God. We've just forgotten that. And Devaki is a soul who is completely in awareness of who she is and who God is. And because of that, her essence, her substance, her consciousness is the same with God. It's just like my body. And I was looking at this, me and Mother Kamagiri were talking yesterday. This body is made of so many millions of cells to the point where I don't know how many, but it's millions of cells. And each of those cells work together in harmony to do the functions of this body. And when one is out of order, one is out of place, the body may go on, but there's a missing element there. So in many ways, our bodies are like the body of God, but in many ways it is not, because we understand that God's body is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, is eternal, is blissful, it's full of knowledge, and there is never any lack or deficiency in the body of God. So even though we may be apparently missing from the body of God, actually we're not. This is like an illusion. It's like a dream. And when we wake up, when we come to our full consciousness, we'll understand that I am an eternal part of God. I am blissful, full of knowledge like God, and my relationship, my joy, my happiness is to serve that God. And when I am in that full consciousness, my awareness becomes one with God. Even in the Christian Bible, they say, and the Son of God was one with God. How do we understand that? We understand that the Son of God, Lord Jesus Christ, and we're all sons of God, he was in complete harmony. He was in alignment with the will of God. The will of Lord Jesus was the same as the will of Lord Krishna. And so with that kind of harmony, you're considered on the same level of the essence because you've realized your position in the body of God. In the Christian world, we used to sing a song, I have a place in God's body, and I'm glad. I have a place in God's body, and I am glad. It may be in his head, it may be in his heart, it may be in his arms, it may be in his feet, but I have a place in God's body, and I'm glad. So all of us should be glad that we have a place in the body of God. And our duty and service at this time is to realize what that place is, because in that place is our total, full joy and happiness. When my cell, one of the cells in the hand, is in its place, it is totally satisfied, completely in harmony with the body. And so that's our objective. So over 5,000 years ago, the Lord came on the planet, manifested himself in his original form. Why? Because the earth was in trouble. And the earth, being one of Krishna's devotees, one of Krishna's servants, went to the Lord Brahma, who's the head of our universe, servant of God, and said, I'm just so much in distress. The demons are just running over. Women are being unprotected. Children are being exploited. The saintly people are being neglected. And therefore, my heart is so heavy. This is Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is actually an organism, a living, breathing personality. And how we treat Mother Earth is how we treat a pure servant of God. So we have to be aware of that consciously at all times. And so when she went to Lord Brahma like that, because Lord Brahma is the chief engineer, he could understand that some of this was beyond his purview. And so he needed to go to someone greater than him to deal with these issues. And so he, along with all the demigods, they approached Lord Vishnu at the top of our universe, God, and they told the Lord what's happening. The Lord said, I already know, and I have a plan. I have a plan, and we know that God is the best of planners. So God's plan, Krishna's plan, was that the demigods take birth on the earth so they can assist in his Leela and that he would come as the son of Devaki and Vasudev, and Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and he would relieve the earth of her burdens of demons. And so the Lord came at the request of his devotees. And if you notice throughout the scriptures, whenever the devotees call on the Lord in some way, strongly, powerfully, steadily, the Lord does something, as in the case of Sri Adwaita, when he called on the Lord 500 years ago and begged the Lord that, again, the world is in trouble and we don't know what to do and only you can save us. So the Lord came in response to that as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. So in this time, we're having this mood of distress. And Prabhupada came, who is a pure servant of the Lord Krishna, and he told us how to call on the Lord so that the Lord would appear in our lives, so that the Lord would be present before us, so that we could understand our relationship to the Lord, so that we can have peace and harmony in our homes and our houses and our hearts. Because the Lord's ultimate goal is that there be peace on earth, goodwill to all men. This is the desire of the Lord. But because we have our minute independence, some people want their interests above others' interests, and therefore the imbalance comes in the earth. So now we have been giving the chanting of the holy name, the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And this actually is a manifestation of God in sound vibration. So the more we chant the holy name with sincerity, with genuine calling upon him, the more our hearts become pure, because deep inside we already love God. And we love God with an intensity that is really unfathomable. And then God loves us more. So uncovering that love is the whole process of Krishna consciousness. Why we observe Janmashtami, why we chant Hare Krishna, why we serve the devotees, why we take shelter of a bona fide guru. It's all to uncover the love that we already have for God. And God is more anxious than we are to have that relationship reestablished. So here it is said that everything was joyful, the flowers, the rain, the thunder, everyone was happy because Krishna is coming. And that reminded me of the early days when Prabhupada would come to any temple. Mother Kamagiri remembers that. Everybody used to be so happy and so joyous, and we'd all clean the temple and decorate the temple and try to clean our own little hearts a little more too. And because Prabhupada was coming as the pure representative of God. So if you prepare for God coming in your life every day, then that's what will happen. Every day we should get up and we should invite Krishna to come in our lives. We should invite Krishna to take charge of us that day. And if we do that out of a sincere appeal, Krishna will actually do that. Invite Krishna to allow us to remember him all day long. Invite Krishna to allow us to serve him all along. And if we actually do that, Krishna will do that because Krishna loves to please his devotees. So I like to think of Janmashtami as kind of a time of reevaluation, of inventory of myself, to take an assessment. How many were here last time for Janmashtami? Okay, so then to be able to say, Lord, where am I today better than I was 1 year ago? Where am I in terms of humility? Where am I in terms of service? Where am I in terms of tolerance? It is said that every day with the Lord should be sweeter than the day before. And that's actually a reality that can happen if that's our desire. So what I'd like us to do is to do a little report on ourselves. I'm going to ask Mother Lalita to give everyone a piece of paper and a pencil. And I'm going to give you all, we're going to do 8 categories of scoring ourselves. And you don't have to show this to anybody, just yourself. And we want you to score yourself from last year, this time, to this year, this time, in front of Radha Natsavar, Lord Jagannath, what Brother Dave, Lady Subraja, we want to rate ourselves. How are we doing in our service to Krishna? And just be as honest as you can. Nobody will see this paper but you unless you want to share it. And I'm gonna give you the categories to rate yourselves. There's a verse that Prabhupada, when he was coming to this country, a lot of his godbrothers, they told him that, Prabhupada, you won't be able to be successful with those people in the West because they have no idea of real spiritual life, no idea of real principles of cleanliness and truthful like that. And he said, Prabhupada said, not only will I get them turning towards the truth, but I will make them Brahmins. And they said, how? And Prabhupada said, I will give them a garland to wear around their neck. And that garland is the Trinadapi verse. Trinadapi, Sunichena, Tawadapi, Snisnena, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtina, Sadahari. One should be more tolerant than a tree, more humble than a blade of grass, and ready to offer all respects to others. And in such a state of mind, one can remember the holy name always. So I want you to just think back for this year. Again, nobody's going to see this but you. And I want you to write down these 8 categories and rate yourself in improvement from where you were last year to where you are now.
What if it's deterioration?
If it's deterioration, we're going to have to put that a minus. And just be real honest, because again, how do you know how to improve unless you know where you are? Okay, so the first category is respect. The scripture says to give all respect to others. So think about it. Over this past year, have you respected all others and not really, wanted respect for yourself? Have you respected your spouse? Have you respected your children? Have you respected other devotees? Are you increasing in respect? Are you desiring to respect? So if you can rate yourself, I want you to give yourself from 1 to 10. 1 is very poor. 10 is you're doing great. Krishna is smiling at you because you're so respectful. And then any number between that. If you're going backwards, you can put a minus. So respect, giving all respects to others. And what does that really look like? Okay. And then the second one is, yes, ma'am.
You said we are comparing ourselves. So is it a spot
Yeah.
check or is it a comparison check? So where we were last year?
Right. You're comparing yourself. Good point, Lalita Devi. You're comparing yourself where you were last year to where you are this year.
So it's a dynamic
Yes, yes. There should be growth, but if it's not, let's just be honest. Okay. The next one is faith. Have you grown in faith in Guru, in Krishna, in the instructions of Guru and Krishna? Faith means the belief in something sublime. And faith actually is the very beginning of love of God. Shraddha, when it evolves through all the stages, ends up as prema. Faith means I accept the word of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. I accept the Guru's word. Where are you compared to last year? Another one is service. Are you at the same place in service? Have you grown in service? Is your service attitude increasing? So rate yourself. The third one is kindness. I'm sorry. Where are we? Four. The fourth one is kindness. How kind are you to other living entities? And I want you to think about the living entities that only maybe Krishna may see how you deal with them. Because Krishna is seeing everything. He's in our hearts and he's recording all of our behavior. And a devotee is kind. And that kindness should be reflected in how we talk, how we act, how we move. So rate yourself on kindness. The fifth one would be tolerance, titikshava. Prabhupada explains that a devotee should be increasingly tolerant, and this mood is, we will likely in our lives do something to offend somebody, and they will likely do something to offend us. So how tolerant are we? You know, the example was given, more tolerant than a tree. You can push a tree, you can sit under a tree, and the tree still gives the shade, still gives consideration. So we want to see that we're actually growing in these Vaishnava qualities, because Krishna is taking note of that. Okay, number 6 would be humility. And you know, a lot of times we're not talking about artificial humility where you say you're humble, but we're actually talking about, are you seeing yourself decreasingly not so important and Krishna becoming more and more important? Or are you seeing yourselves, except by the mercy of God, you would be doing the same thing as somebody else do? That's a humble attitude. So that way you're not judging others so much, because you're looking at yourself. How am I presenting myself before God? Krishna is looking at me. And we want to get closer to God like that. Okay, number 7 is charity. Am I giving more, either money, time, energy, in the service of the Lord comparatively than I was last year? Where am I in that? These are all kind of qualities that we want to develop and encourage. Forgiveness. This is a hard one sometimes for us. Do I see that I'm more forgiving this year than I was last year? Shema. Why is that important to be forgiving for a devotee? And one reason is Krishna is constantly forgiving us for our bad attitudes, for our bad actions, for our bad words. Krishna is constantly forgiving us, so are we forgiving others? Another is cleanliness, number 9. Am I a little more clean this year or desiring to be clean than I was last year? Prabhupada said that, you know, cleanliness is a part of godliness, not just next to godliness. And in the early days in the Hare Krishna movement, we had some really high standards of cleanliness that Prabhupada was pushing us towards. And we found that to be really good, because the more clean you are externally, in conjunction though with your spiritual cleanliness, because spiritual cleanliness means clean thoughts, clean desires, you know, sincere chanting like that. And the last one is initiative. How much am I taking initiative in the service of Krishna? Am I moving forward to do something a little more than I did last year in Krishna's service? Initiative. So I would like some of you don't have to share your scores, but just share some of the thoughts that you were dealing with as you were thinking about yourself this time last year into this day. What are some of the thoughts that came to your mind? What are some things that you wouldn't mind sharing with others? Rukmini, did you have something you wouldn't mind sharing? Get Mata, give her.
Well, I am a little perplexed because I now have like 6 different things to juggle, and I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. So that's something I was thinking about. You know, is that not humble to take on all those things, but then maybe it's more service. So this was recurring in different angles throughout these categories.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Lalita. All right, thank you, Rukmini. That's a good point. So sometimes we take on a lot of services because we're trying to be a servant. But yet, if we take on too much, it will actually hinder us being a good servant. So we have to find that balance, you know, that balance between how much is enough. And I would say, Rukmini, part of that is understanding what you can do well, And if if you can do 3 things well, then that's good to do those 3 things rather than 6 things, a little bit this and a little bit that. And also sometimes consult with seniors, devotees, to lay your case before them, because they can help you have good insight what to look at and what to take on. And also, if you have any specific instructions from your guru, take that as a priority. So make sure whatever your services are too are in line with those instructions. And then finally pray and ask Krishna. Say, Lord, I want to serve you. I don't want to do what's pleasing to you, but I don't want to do it to the point of diminishing returns or where I'm not really doing that well. Because one of the causes of fall down is endeavoring too much. So good question. Anybody else would like to share? Naveen. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You put me on a spot. I rate myself as everything is 0.
Better than minus.
Okay.
If not 1. Because I want to be honest. My understanding is that if somebody goes to a doctor or a lawyer or a guru, first thing to accept that I don't know. I have a problem. So then, in that perspective, is working on it, work in progress, but I don't think so. I can put a mark, but it's up to Guru and Krishna and others to put that, because I can put whatever I want. In my opinion, I rate it as 0 or 1, but it's up to Krishna and Guru, others how they see my behavior.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Very good point. Let me have that. Very good point, Naveen. And a lot of times I think this is where devotees kind of get caught trying to really be humble. And we were reading the Bhagavatam again, and we were reading how Narada Muni was explaining how he became a pure devotee. And he actually was boasting. He said, I wasn't proud and I wasn't puffed up and I did this and I did that. And you're like, oh, this is a pure devotee. And it makes you think that we have to be honest with ourselves and we have to take inventory. Prabhupada said we should evaluate ourselves. We should ask ourselves, am I more in love with Krishna? Am I less afraid of Maya? Am I more faithful to the process? So you can actually rate yourself. I would say err on the side of less than more, but I would say it's very important to take that inventory. And that is not arrogance. If you read that story of Narada Muni, he wasn't arrogant. He was just telling, I didn't play like ordinary boys. I became more, And so when we're aware that we're making some progress in our tolerance and our faith, we should note that, and we should actually be able to see it and feel it, and so should others. So very good point, though. Thank you for that. Hari, would you share something?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
When you did this, I was just thinking how, well, the first thing that came to my mind for each of these categories is how I treat others and how I just meditate about different relationships I had and how if I've maintained those relationships, I've lost those relationships, or I made them better, and then it's just about how the thing I have to work on is like that I've been working on since last year, and I feel like I've tried to get better, but I don't know, I failed in some places but got better. It's just how much respect I have for myself and how much respect I have for others, and just show that in various ways. I think that's something that came to my mind.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So that's a very good point, Hari, and very important to how are we treating others, or how are we connecting with others. That Trinadapi verse where it says, showing all respect to others and expecting no respect in return. So in Kali Yuga, that's probably one of the most difficult instructions, because there's this mood of, I am somebody, I am important. And it almost kind of relates to what Naveen is saying. How do you think of yourself lower than a straw in the street without being falsely humble? And that is the awareness that except for the grace of God, I would be in the same state as anybody else. I'm not all that. I'm just a tiny, insignificant part of God, whose importance is because God loves me. That's it. And that is my key to everything. So for Krishna, he is looking at how are we getting along with others, other living beings, other devotees, other people in different religions. Krishna is taking a very keen interest in that because that is really a reflection of our understanding of the philosophy. If I understand that Tariq is a part and parcel of Krishna, and yet I curse him out, and yet I abuse him, then I don't really understand that. And I'm not really understanding the philosophy. And this is why the mature devotees, they can respect everybody because they do sense that even the ant, even the bird in the tree, even the plant, and they're very, very careful. So when how our world will get to be a better place is when we actually understand that it's how we are reflecting, reciprocating the love of God to others without expecting anything in return, which is a very difficult thing. But if you get to that point, it's a place of peace and happiness also. So that's the part that we want to do. We should grow every day. We should improve every day. If we fall down and make a mistake, we should acknowledge it, cry about it, and get up and try again. That's the whole process of Krishna consciousness. Gokul, can I ask you to give some reflection? Okay.
I was just thinking that I think I've just fallen in all the aspects. And I don't think so I can give myself anything positive except the faith part. Krishna always tests our faith, I feel. And I feel like I have not lost it yet.
Okay.
So, but other than that, I feel like I have a long way to go.
Okay. Very good. All right. Yeah, we all have a long way to go. I had that little song, it says, it's just a matter of time when we all see Krishna. It's just a matter of time when we all go back home. But wouldn't you rather it be sooner than later? Wouldn't you rather be a lover more than a hater? Wouldn't you rather be a believer more than a deceiver? Wouldn't you rather love Krishna right now? Wouldn't you rather serve God? And so, Gokul, this is a choice we have, sweetie. You know, like some people say, oh, you know, it may take me many lifetimes, I can, you know, and that's true. You know, Krishna consciousness, our goal is not an easy thing to achieve. Like if you want to go to the heavenly planets, that's fairly easy. But if you want to have pure, unadulterated, unconditional love for Krishna, returning to your eternal state of being, that's a little more challenging. But it doesn't have to be, because it is all based on desire. And the great souls, the acharyas, have come to help us. They've come to make this thing easy. And that's why when we chant the offenses to the prayer in the morning, you know, he said to avoid these offenses in order to do what? To make quick progress on the spiritual path. Quick. And so even if you happen to be making offenses, you could cry to Krishna and say, Krishna, I'm just a ball of offenses. Help me. I don't want to be like this. That's not my real self anyway. Help me to grow and help me to appreciate. And beware though, when you pray those kind of prayers, Krishna will send you to help. Not like you think, but it's the real help. It's what it takes to help us cleanse our hearts of all the dirt and whatnot in there. Would anybody else like to share? Jagadish?
Humility.
Humility.
Humility. I thought that if you have humility and when you criticize, you don't get discouraged. Or if somebody pats you on the back, you don't put your self on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're saying that humility is if people criticize you, you try not to be disturbed.
Well,
Yeah,
be stable.
you stay equipoised, the eternal goal. And if they praise you, you try not to be disturbed, equal in praise and blame like that. Because we have many instances of very famous people who were lifted up and on a pedestal. And then all of a sudden, all those same people brought them back down to practically nothing. So what is the praise and blame in this world? You know, although we should appreciate devotees, we should appreciation is a spiritual quality, but we shouldn't get the big head when we are appreciated. Prabhu, would you like to share something? I don't know your name. Say
My
it.
name is Darpan.
Depan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Darpan. So I feel like I have degraded in most of the points instead of increasing. So it's like minus points for me. So I will try to learn more Bhagavad Gita. We learned a little Bhagavad Gita from Premilas Prabhu, but I will keep on continuing that and then try to see what I can improve and how I can improve by listening to what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Depan. That's a very good resolution. That was a very good resolution. When you see, you know, it's like you're in school and you go to the teacher and they give you your report card. And based on the report card, you're promoted, or you sometimes stay in the same grade, or you're demoted. Now, what do we want? We want promotion in Krishna consciousness. We don't want to stay in the same place. We want to grow. Like a lot of times we'll ask devotees, why are you chanting? Why are you getting up every day chanting 60 miles? What's the point? Because you want to be a different person. You want to get to your spiritual self. You want to have peace of mind. You want to connect with Krishna. So that, you know, don't forget the reason why you're doing these things that you're doing. Studying the scriptures, chanting, you know. And one of the best ways to get all of these qualities is to render service to the devotees. And that's also sometimes the most challenging, because devotees can push you there sometimes, even whether they mean to or not, you know. And when you think about it, Krishna, sometimes we say God is all-knowing, He's all-wise, He's doing everything. And then when somebody's in our life that's a little difficult, we say, how'd that happen? It happened because Krishna arranged it for our growth and our surrender. That's why it happened. And when we start looking at it like that, we'll actually grow and surrender. Anybody else like to share, Prabhu? Would you?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, to be very honest, I was not judging myself on
Okay.
this criteria.
Okay.
In general, my criteria has always been, have I developed more taste for hearing and chanting? Am I
that's a good
chanting
one.
more number of rounds? Am I reading more of Srila Prabhupada books seriously? But since we have gone through this exercise, maybe next year I may have a better answer.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So yes. So because my understanding is, my realization is, if we are chanting and hearing and reading Srila Prabhupada books better, all these qualities will naturally develop.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Yes. Very good.
I think Prabhu wants to say something.
Okay. All right. I won't forget. Save the best for me. So, as you all know, I'm an educator, and one of the things that we learned early on in school is what is the purpose of education. And it's not, as our government has designed, just to condition people how to work in the economy and that kind of thing. Real education means a change in behavior. That's how you know somebody's educated. They act differently. So when we chant Hare Krishna, when we have a taste for chanting Hare Krishna, our behavior changes. And like you said, these qualities automatically develop. That's a sign of chanting. In the beginning, a lot of impurities come off, a lot of dirty. Even you said, wow, I didn't even know I was all that bad myself. But that's still part of the process. Like your clothes are in the washing machine, they're getting washed. You don't say those old dirty clothes. They'll be clean when the process is finished. So that's the whole idea of chanting and hearing and developing a taste. It's not a separate thing. It's simultaneously, like you said, as we chant better, as we develop a taste to chant better, we become kinder. We become more forgiving. We become less just judgmental. We become more compassionate. All these qualities naturally develop, and that's how you know the chanting is working. You have a way to test it. All right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I really appreciate this exercise. I knew when I finished it to subtract a large number off each one. Because the question is, in these areas, are you improving?
Mm-hmm.
So you may have them, but are you improving? And they may be high or they may be low. But the best thing is to be conscious of them at the beginning of the year, every month, every day, that these are 10 categories that I do want to improve upon. And rather than take for granted, you read so much, do this, be that, and you may be thinking you're doing it, but are you focused on these 10 categories? So I appreciate that you gave us this exercise, and I can be focused on these 10 categories. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So one of my heroes, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he used to do an exercise with his devotees. He was a topmost educator and a topmost strategist. And he would have them go around to each other and sort of give each other the sauce, if you will. And the idea was the devotees had to take it. They had to ask another devotee, how am I doing? And they had to be willing to hear from that devotee. And you know that sometimes that was a little hard. But it really got a lot of his disciples in the mood to always be taking inventory, to always be, growing, and to have some humility about that as a process. So, many ways, we don't want to just be in an isolated bubble. This Krishna consciousness is a dynamic process. We should be growing. We should become more empowered. We should be the light of the world. That's what Prabhupada wanted, and we can do that with this Krishna consciousness. So I'm going to ask Lalita to share.
I'll begin with expressing my gratitude to Srila Prabhupada and the deities and devotees that we have this festival because of all of them. Otherwise we were lost souls. And my special gratitude to you for coming each year and blessing us despite whatever else may be in your way. Very, very grateful to you. Thank you for this exercise, because even before you began, just a very not articulated thought was in my mind that, so what's different with this Janmashtami than the previous Janmashtamis? And I was feeling grateful to Krishna because being very driven, passionate person, I had almost until this Janmashtami identified only with the externals of some service. And not really a go-getter, don't accomplish a lot at external levels, but still getting things done is one of my accomplishments. And for the first time this Janmashtami, I was feeling a little resigned. That yes, Krishna will take over. Krishna is meant to take over no matter what happens externally. And if he wants the festival to be rained down, he'll be snug inside the temple room. And if he wants it different, so it will be his desire and my submission. And this is where I felt I was in a different space compared to last year's. Until last year's, I would be like,
An anxiety.
like what will happen? Krishna's desire will happen. And I felt peaceful. I felt solaced. I was able to sleep last night.
Good.
I was able to chant this morning. So this great joy
presence. I'm grateful to Prabhupada and the devotees.
Jai. Thank you, Lilita. I'm also grateful for you. You and Prime Vilas are such excellent hosts. We just don't know how to properly appreciate both of you for that. But anyway, that's a good point. That's a point of growth. It's like surrender. It's like more faith, that I do whatever I can. I do it well. I don't shuck it. I'm not lazy. I don't cheat. I do it well. And then the results are up to Krishna. Because he says it's in his hands anyway. Everything is going to happen the way Krishna wants, ultimately. But we're supposed to do our service very well and then leave the results. That's what Krishna told Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, you fight because you're a Kshatriya, and I told you to fight. And that's the duty of a Kshatriya, but leave the results to me. And that's the nature of what we're going to do. And I don't know your name, sweetie. It's a pretty young lady here, but I'd like you to comment on something too.
It's Janaki Prabhu's older daughter.
Okay, say your name.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My name is Marisha.
Marisha. Okay.
I've improved a little bit on most of the things because ever since my mother passed, I lost faith in Krishna. I was like, why is all this happening to me? So, but as things got better, I began to have faith. And when I was in Nigeria, when my mother passed away, we were not in the temple, we were not observing Akadashi and doing. We're just living. So I think my faith deteriorated.
Mm-hmm.
So as I came here, I started participating in kirtan and chanting, reading. I think my faith level.
Thank you, Marissa. And that's actually, Marissa, thank you for sharing that. That's actually the process of increasing faith, is association of devotees. That increases our faith. That's why it's important to associate with devotees, sincere devotees, strong devotees, dedicated devotees, because the devotees attract Krishna, and they also help us to remember Krishna, and we do the same for them. Prem Vilas, did you want to share something, Prabhu, from this exercise?
I think the exercise was wonderful, but hearing the comments of the devotees was so enlightening.
Yeah.
And I echo Tariq Prabhu's comments. At least I know what 10 categories to work on.
Yeah.
With one request, that she has to come back, we'll keep all these papers
For
safe
next year.
for next year, after her treatments, for us to produce reports.
That's okay. I thought you would never report me.
That's good.
That's at home. Not in office.
I think that when I was doing this exercise, I felt like there were some elements where I made some progress, and then there are other elements where no progress or maybe some deterioration, and that's very sobering.
Mm-hmm.
I felt kind of a little discouraging too. One of the arenas which I really struggle with is natural faith.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some people have very innate and natural faith, and that faith helps them to take shelter of the holy name of the Lord, of the scripture, of righteousness. That's an interesting idea. I think that I've seen a lot of pious, like I see you and Mother Kamagiri, and I see this natural faith. So that's one area I had to work on a lot. And cleanliness, I was thinking, this internal thought pattern. And I'm becoming more and more aware, I would say, in my Krishna consciousness of my own thoughts and my own consciousness. Before, everything was on an autopilot. And now as I'm becoming more and more aware, I'm becoming more and more despondent. That, how far and far away from Krishna I am. And that's very sobering.
Yeah.
In some ways, I also feel like initiative is definitely one of my strengths. But then you made a point, and Rukmini made a point that you have to draw a line at some point, because the mind, if it doesn't have faith in the holy name and it has faith in the external service, then a lot of initiatives come in your mind to do things, to modify and manipulate the material energy to serve Krishna.
Right.
And how you draw the line, where do you cut back, what is good, what is favorable, what is unfavorable, it's all a very gray area. So that was that. I think my chanting has helped me become a little bit more respectful and tolerant and kind towards other living entities. Otherwise, I would not have any frame of reference. Without Krishna consciousness, without God, I don't know what other frame of reference we will have to be kind or respectful. Why should I be respectful? That's what materialistic people think. So I think God consciousness in general gives you a little frame of reference. That you're meant to see God, that you're part and parcels, you're accountable to Him. That sort of accountability to Him as opposed to anyone else. I feel like you can only be tolerant and respectful and kind if you know that it's not the person, but it is to Krishna that you have to answer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And when you chant, you definitely feel that. If you have not been kind and respectful and forgiving and truthful, then your chanting suffers a lot.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Prabhu. And that's it. Thank you, Pranjalas Prabhu. That was really good. Several good points you made. And the idea of, you're right, what is the motivation for anybody to be kind or truthful or compassionate? And part of it is, like you said, God consciousness, understanding that we're all connected. But also the science of it, and this is very important for people to appreciate. Just as I'm giving this example of my body, if I smack any part of my body, guess who feels it? The whole body. So what people don't understand is that when you're not kind to others, that will come back to you. You will actually feel that plus interest at some point. And see, this is the part of the science. I wish that when we were little, children were taught that. I mean, not out of fear, but just the reality that we're so connected that if you hurt another living entity, you will be hurt at least that much and probably more. And that is a science. If you disrespect another living entity, you will be disrespected at least that much and probably more, because there's usually interest given to that. So this is a science. Krishna consciousness is a science. And that's why when Dhruva went to his mother crying in pain and disappointment because his stepmother had mistreated him, and she said, those who are unkind to others will feel that same result. And she said, don't you do that. Just because she did that to you, don't do it back to her. Wise mother. This is what parents should teach their children. So part of the science of life is understanding that I cannot do anything to anybody else that won't happen to me. Either immediately or in the future. Period. That's it. So if for selfish reasons, we should be kind. Because we want kindness back on us, But ultimately, it's out of love, because when, part of our nature, spirit, souls, is we are happy when we make others happy. That is our nature. And so when that happens, we feel happy. So I want to ask Mother Kamagiri to share a little bit. Marisa, can you give it?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So as you were going over the 10 points, I won't say whether I move forward or move backwards, but what it prompted me to think about was
honesty. When you become more honest with yourself, then you can make progress.
Yes.
Sometimes we're not honest with ourselves. And another thing that it made me think about is sometimes in the midst of, we'll say, tests of these 10 qualities, we don't really realize what's going on until after it happened. And then, if you're not honest, then you'll see it differently. And then another word that it prompted me to think about was fearlessness. Because when you're honest, then you can become less fearful if you're honest. And then from becoming less fearful, then you can develop more of a quality of renunciation. So you're not attached to whether, if you're honest, whatever that really is, what's really going on with you. So you're not so attached to whether it's good or bad. And then from there you develop an acceptance. This is actually this is where I am. And I have to, like deal with it from there. And then you develop an attitude of gratitude. That the Lord allowed you to be able to see those things.
Yes.
And so then you become grateful, because without becoming honest about it, you can't get to the point of having gratitude in the end. So that's...
Sure. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mother Congregator. That attitude of gratitude is so important. That honesty is so important. And just being able to let you talk to yourself. Talk to your mind. Here's where I am. Because if you go on a trip, you first have to know where you are. Right? If you don't know where you are, how are you going to get to where you want to go? So this kind of exercise helps us to honestly see where we are, and then have a goal in mind that we want to get to, and then beg for Krishna's help and the association of devotees, because that attitude of gratitude is very important. So this little exercise today, I thank you all for participating. Did anybody else want to share? Did you want to share, sweetie? Oh, okay. Let's have people share. Yeah.
You thought he escaped.
My name is Tara.
Tara.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it came to a point in my life, I felt like Krishna left my heart. I was feeling so empty, and I felt I was not okay. So that's why I increased in my spiritual life. So.
Wow, thank you, Tara. That was very special. Pass it to your dad. Chanakya, you can't escape. There you go.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's quite confusing. I was just trying to be a little bit introspective in terms of trying to be more conscious of what is happening within most of the time, and always praying very hard for Lord Krishna to always remind me what is to be done and what is not to be done at any particular point in time. And in my situation, it's a little bit difficult working on it. One, being in a situation whereby you are put in a position whereby you can instruct others, you can correct others, and you can discipline others. And then you now be put in a different situation whereby you don't have to do those things. It's a little bit tasking in the sense that, when one is used to correcting, instructing, and then you have to adjust the situation, be able to know that yes, even though one does certain those things for the purpose of service to Guru and Krishna, still there are reactions that come from those things. Even though you genuinely want to, correct, you want to instruct based on Guru's instruction or service, still there are lots and lots of reactions that come from it. And then when you're relieved of such situation, you feel some relief, very big relief. And then it's a little bit easier to take instructions actually than to give instructions to guide others. And then as such, as much as possible, tolerating others' misbehavior and all that, also trying to understand that aspect in the sense that I'm working to tolerate my senses, to tolerate myself. I'm not really tolerating people who are outside, who are doing things that they seem to be provoking. But I'm working to try to tolerate my own senses, my own pushings, my own expectations and all that. And I'm trying to be a little bit watchful of those things as comes.
Thank you very much, Shanika Pandit and Tara. Yeah, it's a different situation when you are the one giving instructions and guiding, and then when your situation changes and you're taking instructions. So, adjusting. It's a period of adjustment for that. And I always like to think, okay, Krishna, what is it that you want from me out of this situation? Why have you put me in this situation? How should I respond? And it's a constant kind of prayer, asking for the Lord to guide you. A lot of times it's preparation for something, that requires the growth in these areas, and also it helps to make you more tolerant. And Krishna is helping us because we're all works in progress. We're not where we should finish being. And then I like what Tara was saying, that there's sometimes in our devotional life where we don't feel Krishna. We don't feel him in our hearts, and we don't, and we just kind of go on just faith, or just because we've heard that we should serve God. And then if we push through that, sometimes that's called the dark night of the soul, in some cases, when you don't feel the presence of God, you're feeling very sad or empty, but you just keep on trusting that God is there and he's real, and you do what you ought to do, and like you said, by association that helped you, and pretty soon you'll get this too shall pass. So the reason why I appreciate everybody for being a part of this exercise is because, as I said, this is Janmashtami. It's a very happy occasion. It's an occasion to celebrate God's appearance, and we have to invite God to appear in our heart over and over again. And we invite him by chanting his name, by coming to class, by praying. And this invitation is something that Krishna likes to respond to. And just sharing for my own self, this has been a very interesting year for me, because at the beginning of last year, as most of you all know, I was diagnosed with a very aggressive assertive cancer. And for a year and a half, it looked like it was going to be okay, and now it's come back in all its glory. And I like to think of this cancer as my friend rather than my enemy, because what it has done for me is to help me prioritize really what's important, and constantly take this kind of inventory on myself, and constantly be, working on this Krishna Nandini Devi Dasi, so that I can present myself a suitable disciple before Prabhupada, because he gave us so much. But the truth is, for me, this has been a very wonderful journey. It's hard to say that, because I feel pain, and I know that there are things going on in the body that, God, I wish they weren't. But at the same time, it's making me aware that Krishna is with me all the time. And he is showing me that in all the different ways it's possible to show. And I'm just grateful. It's an attitude of gratitude. I mean, whatever happens, we're just at the mercy of the Lord anyway. And we might as well be happy in that endeavor. You know, you could say, Krishna, now this is a little interesting, but you still work with it, right? So that's what we're doing, and we're happy to be here in Columbus again, to be with all of you all, and to help us invite Krishna into our hearts, and to, you know, make our hearts a suitable ashram for Krishna. That's the whole point. You know, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the cause of all causes. He's the most pure. He's unlimited, you know, all the adjectives in the superlative form. That's what Krishna is. And yet he has said, I will be with my devotee. I mean, like, what kind of love is that, you know? So, but we have to prepare ourselves to have Krishna in our hearts like that, and remind him. So I'm going to read the translation again, and I think we'll stop here. The Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, Text 7 and 8. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean's waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night. That's a very important point. What time did the Lord appear? When it was dark and densely dark. So that's hope for us, because this is definitely a dark time. And we can say, Krishna, come on. So like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was the same category as Sri Krishna. So are there any more questions or comments? One question. Okay. Should we give him the... Prabhu, can we give him the mic? Okay. Thank you, Tara.
So being honest with oneself is good. Like, we are honest with ourselves, that way we can make progress in spiritual life or wherever we think we can go. And being honest with others is truthfulness, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So being honest with us and being honest with others is truthfulness. Now, sometimes being truthful to others can lead to consequences. But if you are being honest but not being truthful, and if it is going to do good, like for example, today I wanted to take a vacation, but I can't really tell I'm going to serve temple. So I told my boss I'm helping my sister move, and he agreed right away. So now I'm being honest to myself that I want to serve in the temple, but I'm not being truthful here.
You were not speaking lies, because you helped me do so many things today.
I was going to ask you, do you have any God sisters in this place?
So that's like a kind of how like in spirituality does this go? Like,
Okay.
Am I being correct, or do I need corrective action?
Okay, pass that to me. So that's an excellent, what's your name, Prabhu? Manish. Manish, that's an excellent point, because, you know, we have to be very careful with the truth. Krishna loves the truthful devotee. And Mother has said she can stand anybody except a liar. So we shouldn't play with the truth. But I was going to say, don't you have God sisters here in the temple? And, like, aren't you all God sisters?
He is not officially aspiring, but
Yeah,
yes,
but,
we have that family.
So what, saying you're helping your sister move in the spiritual sense, that actually, for a higher purpose, Krishna doesn't take that quite the same. But we have to be careful not to lie just for our ulterior motive or sense gratification or something. And, you know, wisdom is a part of being a devotee. We have to understand how to be wise in all of our dealings. Sometimes Prabhupada said that he flattered the rascals. You know, now was Prabhupada lying or saying, no, he wasn't. Like he'd say, oh, you're a big man, or you're a big this, that. Because, you know, in order to have them connect with Krishna in a certain way, do service in a certain way. He did that. But in general, we should be very truthful and be very careful of speaking the truth, because Narada Muni said that when one speaks the truth always, whatever he says will become the truth. That becomes a person who personifies the truth. So, but in that case of saying you're helping your sister move, if you help the sisters in the community move something for Krishna, then, that's okay. You can understand.
Now all day everybody will be asking.
All right, sisters, here's a brother. Yeah, but the idea is we always want to please Krishna by whatever we do. And we always want to, it's good to take instruction from elders and seniors if there's a question about what we're doing, because that helps us to get a clearer vision. And Krishna actually wants us to develop our intelligence. Because the more we develop our intelligence, the more we can be Krishna conscious, number one, and the more we can help others be Krishna conscious. It's kind of like we're reading in the Bhagavatam where Ashwatthama killed the babies while they were asleep, a heinous crime. So Bhima, Krishna, they wanted to kill him. Parnan, he transgressed all religious laws, kill him. Draupadi, she said, no, I don't want his mother to suffer like I have suffered. And then Yudhishthira, in the end, agreed with Draupadi. He said, because he's the son of our teacher, and we shouldn't. So then Krishna told Arjuna, he said, Arjuna, now you need to satisfy me and Bhima, who want to kill this demon, and you need to satisfy your wife. Draupadi said, spare him, and your elder brother, who is your leader, Yudhishthira, use your intelligence how to do that. And then what did Arjuna do? You all know the story. He cut off the demon's hair and the jewel on his head. Now for us these days, that probably had no significance, but in those times, to cut off, especially a Kshatriya's hair by opposing party, was like worse than death. Like, you might as well kill me because you've dishonored me. And so Arjuna used his intelligence to spare the life of this demon, but he also used his intelligence to kill him. So Krishna wants us to use our intelligence when we're negotiating and navigating how to serve him and how to be a good devotee. And we get that by chanting, by associating with devotees, by studying, and by praying. We get that kind of intelligence because it's going to take intelligence to maintain Krishna consciousness and intelligence to spread it. Very important part. So we'll say, Jai Srila Prabhupada, our glories to our eternal Father, our founder Acharya, and Jai Shri Radha Natabar Ki Jai. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Krishnanandini ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Oh, that's your phone. Oh, collect your pencils, please.
Yes, ma'am. You can